Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing a GeForce RTX 4080 Super in Hellblade 2. This one is the Founders Edition model of the card. We are running it with the latest Nvidia drivers, and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power Up's GPU Z. Resizable bar is also enabled, and over on the left, we're pairing it with a Ryzen 9 7950X3D with half of its cores disabled, which makes it the same pretty much as a Ryzen 7 7800X3D, and this just makes sure that we utilize the 3DV cache cores. Some games won't utilize that and get less performance because of it, so that's why I disabled them. Over on the memory tab, we're using 32GB of RAM, 6000 MHz in dual channel. This is CL30 as well, and let's get into it, shall we? Okay, let's go over the settings first, guys, and I have set it to 4K resolution using DLSS on DLAA, so it's not really upscaling, it's just using the anti-aliasing over the native resolution. Also, frame generation is turned off at the moment, and I am utilizing the global preset set to high, which is actually the maximum in this game, and I manually checked every setting here. This is maximum settings, alright? And you can see over here it says 36 FPS, which is interesting because nothing is happening right now. We're just staring at a menu, right? But let's hit continue there. I've already checked the first cutscene of the game, and guys, it looks very good, but it is ultra intensive, holy crap. And well, here we are. I disabled the black bars, by the way, that come on by default in this title, and they're quite annoying in my opinion, so you should do that. You also lose a little bit of FPS by doing that, but yeah, doesn't matter. I like my games to be using my full resolution, right? And I have already checked the first cutscene of this game, okay, in the boat and stuff with a lot of water. It led us to here, this moment right here, and even though 20-something FPS might seem terrible, and even 30 FPS seems terrible with an RTX 4080 Super $1,000 GPU, right? It was even worse during the cutscene. It's all in real time, you know, using the engine and stuff, and the minimum it dropped to was 19 FPS, guys, not 90. 90 would be what I expect from a $1,000 GPU at the minimum, right? But no, 19 FPS. That is absolutely insane and crazy. Now, the game has come out for a few days already. I was on vacation, unfortunately, so unfortunately, I like to be on vacation, but I couldn't really check it out in day one, you know, but I actually didn't check any content on it. I saw your comments, of course, asking for me to test this game and saying that it is super intensive, but honestly I wasn't really expecting 19 FPS minimum intensive on a 4080 Super, and I forgot to count our FPS. Not that it matters really, because I don't think anyone is gonna play like this unless you're looking for a really cinematic experience, of course. In that case, well, the minimum FPS will be close to that. Even the average FPS will be close to that. And from what you guys have told me as well, this is a super linear title. It takes like 5 to 6 hours, or maybe 7 hours maximum to complete. And I guess if this is it, you know, just pressing W all of the time, which you guys have told me it is, it's actually playable with 20-something FPS and 31 on average. But it is insanely intensive indeed, guys. The good news is it doesn't stutter. Okay, so there's that. At least it's going to be a stable experience, right? And it's very hard to talk to you guys while I have voices in my head, like you can hear them, right? It's distracting, but it's very stable. It doesn't stutter at all, and it also doesn't consume a lot of VRAM, and it looks amazing, of course. So there's that. At least in terms of the VRAM, they took care of it. They made sure that it's optimized in that regard, and the game ends up looking insanely good, and well, not running out of VRAM, even on a 12GB GPU at native 4K resolution. That's impressive, right? But again, like, this is completely unacceptable performance. I would take a little bit lower graphical fidelity, you know, and much higher FPS. This game is extremely hard to run indeed. Let's turn on frame generation now, okay? Check it out. Also, RAM utilization wise, it's very stable as well, below like 9 gigabytes or below 10 gigabytes all of the time, basically. That's pretty impressive as well for the graphics, but I guess there's not much going on either, so yeah, anyway. All right, frame generation at least puts us up into the 50s, but there is a freak ton of input lag. You can't really notice it. Gonna try to show it to you guys, but yeah, it's not completely instant, right? And that's what we've been seeing with frame generation in a ton of games. Whenever you get 50, 40 frames per second, even 60 frames per second, it doesn't feel that great, although it looks much smoother, especially on YouTube, since you're not really noticing any of the input lag because you're not playing the game, right? But yeah, even in a single-player linear title like this, 50 FPS with frame generation isn't ideal, and I wouldn't really utilize it, guys, honestly. Okay, because what you're getting is basically half of the FPS in terms of the input lag. You know what? This game could be like a next-gen benchmark, for example. Right? It definitely looks very, very good, and it is performing like a next-gen title, I would say, like a 50 series title or 60 series title, maybe. Anyway, let's stop it there. We're achieving like 60 frames per second sometimes, not terrible, but again, that's with frame generation enabled, so it's not amazing either. Also, very accurate video memory representation, or the usage right there, 8.328, and we're actually using 8.344. Anyway, let's try to utilize quality DLSS, no frame generation now, so this is just DLSS quality. It's rendering the game at 67% resolution scale. Now the input lag is great. Oh, wow. We're getting the same FPS basically as frame generation on top of DLAA, and now the input lag feels like 50 to 60 frames per second, or 60 plus right now actually, because we're getting native frames. In terms of visuals, it's pretty much the same as with frame generation. It's slightly softer than native res, okay? But on my 32-inch 4K monitor, I can't really tell much of a difference. So that's pretty good, right? That means that we can actually utilize the DLSS quality, make it look close enough to 4K resolution to where you can't really tell much of a difference. Yeah, this is now very playable, and it still looks very good. Honestly, DLSS quality plus frame generation might be the way to go here at 4K with a 4080 Super. And after seeing the insanely low FPS previously at native res, I wasn't really expecting to hit 60 sometimes here with DLSS quality. It's starting to stutter a little bit, guys, which I am not liking, because so far it's been a smooth experience. And I was praising the game a little bit in terms of it not stuttering, you know? But maybe that's not the case every single time. How does Ghost of Tsushima, for example, consume more VRAM than this? 4K max settings with those textures? I mean, maybe it needs to load the entire world, you know, it's an open world game, but wow, it's kind of crazy. This is only utilizing 7 gigs. An 8 gigabyte GPU would be capable of rendering this scene without any issues VRAM-wise, right? That's... wow. That's very impressive. Okay, I'm gonna stop it right there. And I'm gonna use frame generation on top of quality DLSS right here, which should put us above 60 FPS the entire time. And oh my god, no, oh my god. Yes. Holy, all right, that's pretty good, guys. That's really good. I can see a little bit of artifacting from the frame generation around her arms, but aside from that, and from a little bit more noise indeed on that jacket thingy, fur thingy, you know, yeah, especially when you move, it's very noticeable. Aside from that, it is looking fantastic still. And on a 32-inch monitor, I definitely wouldn't mind playing like this. Okay, so I think we've found the perfect settings for the 4080 Super. Just enable the DLSS quality, enable frame generation on top of it. It's gonna look insanely good, and you're gonna get the smoothness of 80 FPS plus, basically, all of the time, which is kind of ridiculous coming from 20 to 30 at the beginning, guys. Obviously, we're not really in the exact same areas, so maybe there we'd get like 70 FPS. I think it's a little bit more intensive where you start, but still, I mean, it's kind of insane, right? The difference the frame generation and DLSS make is ridiculous in this game, and I guess the developers probably worked around it as well, seeing how intensive it is, right? Oh boy! All right, look at this little rock, right? What is happening? Oh boy. Okay, but yeah, look at this. Look at this. I'm gonna focus on it actually. Yeah, look at the texture, dude. Damn, that is insane, right? Holy! Look at the grass right there. Super detailed. And remember, this is 67% 4K with DLSS quality, but usually at 32 inches especially, DLSS quality at 4K looks pretty much the same as DLSS off, basically, so native resolution. Okay, that's weird. Wait a second. We gotta do this. Wait, yes. Oh, yeah, I memorized it. It's showing up all over the place. There we go. Wait a second. Yes. We found it. Yes.
You don't know how deep this darkness goes.
Okay. I don't know how deep the darkness goes, but the sun is coming out, starting to get a little bit more saturated. I like it. Now, I'm curious to see it with 1440p resolution and native res first, okay? So I'm just going to use DLAA. The DLSS frame generation is off. Everything is still on highest settings. Okay, I just restarted the game to reset the VRAM allocations and stuff like that. Still using the same settings. DLAA at 1440p now. That is actually a pretty huge difference coming from 4K. We're getting like double the FPS. Okay. So even though this is kind of like a truly next-gen title that looks insanely good and so on, and it's super demanding, it actually performs pretty damn well at 1440p native resolution with a 4080 Super. I mean, I guess we should have expected that because, again, we need to keep the price of this GPU in mind, right? It's insanely expensive as well. So it should be capable of providing good experiences, especially at 1440p resolution in these super intensive titles. Whoa, what do you want? I don't want anything to do with you guys. Stop it. Well, anyway, if you're running a 1440p monitor, well, you're good, basically. And I bet you expected you to be good because 4080 Super for 1440p is a great GPU for like high refresh rate gaming at this res. And even then it drops into the 40s, as you can see, but it's only in these cutscenes. It seems like the cutscenes are way more intensive than the actual game itself. And even if it does drop sometimes into the 50s while you're walking around and fighting these guys and so on, it's not the end of the world. It's not really too noticeable if you have the motion blur enabled, as well as G-Sync, which I am using right now. It feels alright. Kind of like a movie again. If I was playing this on like a 4060 or a 4070 and seeing way lower FPS, yeah, I would be mad at that for sure. Why do they just stand still while I attack them? That's weird. Come on, there we go. Good stuff. Jesus! I'm not even sure if I'm gonna be demonetized at this point. Anyway, at native 1440p, you get 69 FPS average, 51% lows because of the cutscenes. It's very stable, mostly around 60 to 70, so no need to utilize like quality DLSS, for example, but if you want to, well, it's there for you. I'm just going to enable some frame generation because frame generation usually doesn't really affect the visuals too much. It's just slightly, very slightly softer. And here at this res, look at that. We doubled our FPS almost. That's actually a really good result in this title. Wow. Okay, so now you can enjoy the input lag that we were seeing before of 60 to 70 frames per second most of the time, but with the smoothness of 100 plus FPS all of the time, which is definitely feeling a heck of a lot smoother, you know? That's very good. Very good. But again, the fact that you can only play this game with good graphics, I guess, damn it. I don't know how to block, actually. Again, the fact that you need very expensive GPUs to play this game, and the frame generation, which is exclusive to the 40 series, unfortunately, on the Nvidia side of things. It sucks, obviously. But you're not really losing on much if you don't actually play the game. Just go watch a walkthrough or something, and yeah, you can still enjoy the visuals and stuff like that. Okay, we're just waiting here at this point, and you already know there's no point in utilizing DLSS quality at this res, and frame generation works really well here at 1440p. I would use these settings actually, FG, 1440p, DLAA, high settings. It works really well. So I'm just gonna move on now, disable frame generation and play at 1080p resolution just to check it out, okay? All right, we're back here. 1080p, well, to no one's surprise, I think, is getting 100 frames per second. Yep, 90 to 110, I guess, is what you can expect all of the time. Little stutter right there, probably loading things since I restarted. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty smooth, obviously. There are some artifacts around Senua's body, actually. You can see a little noise there. So maybe that wasn't because of frame generation or after all. It's just how the game is rendered and stuff. Yeah, even at 1080p, there's a ton of detail on a 32-inch 4K monitor, guys. Damn, that's kind of crazy. And obviously, being a $1,000 GPU, it runs it absolutely fine at the 1080p resolution. No doubt about it. But I mean, I still kind of feel like a 4060 Ti maybe should have been able to achieve these FPS at 1080p high settings, right? Or max settings. Because even though the game is one of the most detailed and most beautiful games out there in terms of graphical fidelity, even at 1080p resolution, it's not like 3 or 4 times better looking than some other very good looking titles out there, right? Not even 2 times better looking, maybe. So it's a bit underwhelming to see these FPS, especially in a linear game at the same time, right? Yeah, it is what it is, my friends. I guess optimization isn't really the thing that the developers went for. They just wanted to max out visuals completely, and this is what we got here. So yeah, that's basically it. You know, let's enable some frame generation on top of this just to see how it does. It should double our FPS, right? We were getting 80s, now we're in 140s. True high refresh rate experience right now with that FG enabled at 1080p. Can't really see much, but what should I do? Oh, okay. I needed to press F. It doesn't tell you when to press things and stuff. It's pretty weird. Holy crap, dude. The actual screams on my headphones are... yeah, they're kind of really scary. I thought somebody was screaming outside of my room. Ooh, more water. Water in this game is really intensive as well. You saw it dropping by quite a bit there, like into the 110s. That's crazy. I wonder if we disable frame generation now at 1080p resolution, will it drop into like the 60s and stuff? Yeah, it might. Oh, this is 1080p, guys. Oh my god. In some scenarios, it's gonna be insanely intense. Look at that. 1080p resolution. It is a cutscene, though. You can move the camera around like this, but it is a cutscene. Doesn't matter if it drops even to like 40 or 30 frames, I guess. You will see the slowdown, of course, but it's not the end of the world. But this is a $1,000 GPU. It should be running like this, in my opinion, on a 4060 Ti. Maximum. Come on. All right. Oh my god. Jesus Christ. Holy crap, this game, man. What? Is he naked? What the heck is going on? I'm gonna have to blur everything in this one. Come on. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. All good. Oh, nope. Stop. 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 Come on. Come on. Come on. All right. I think that's been it for this video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. It is a very intensive title, but if you have 4080 Super or a 4080, which is basically the same as this, it will run well, obviously, to be expected, but not at native resolution. At 4K res, drop things down to DLSS quality, or even balanced if you want to keep 60 FPS in the cutscenes, you know. Come on, come on, come on, come on. There we go. No, I missed. Gosh! Come on! There we go, finally! He's dead. Good stuff, Senua. Let's go. Let's get out of here. Oh yeah, and you also gotta use the frame generation stuff at 4K resolution on top of DLSS quality. Don't want to go in that direction. There are some spirits over there or whatever. And 1440p native resolution worked pretty well, but I bet it will drop from 60 FPS, especially in cutscenes and stuff. So it's gonna be rough. Enable frame generation, and it's gonna be smooth all the way, you know. And here at 1080p you can actually utilize that native resolution, but I doubt many people are actually playing at 1080p with a 4080 Super, right? So that's been it. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one very soon, and as always, love you all. Bye bye.